A former fellow officer of Prince Harry has said the Duke has changed since his marriage and is not the bag of fun he used to be. The officer who left the army for the city said last night that Harry seemed detached and disjointed when they met recently and sensed he was feeling isolated. He said the Duke appears defensive and protective of his life following his marriage to Meghan Markle. "I suspect that as a newly married man he is anxious about the pressures his wife is feeling," he told the Sunday Express. The prince spent 10 weeks in Afghanistan as a forward air controller serving as Lieutenant Wales in 2008. However, he was forced to leave after German and Australian publications broke the news of his location. "I have seen the prince this year and he seemed very quiet and reserved, not the bubbly, fun chap I once knew." During his time in Helmand, Harry was a bag of fun, though always professional, the source added. He described how the fun-loving prince once found a motorbike and started driving it, when he was deployed on the ground with the Blues and Royals. He had a great sense of humor. He excelled in daft jokes about football or rugby, he added. The former officer described how the Duke would be happy to make tea for fellow soldiers, tidy up books they were sent and would wait for his turn in the shower. He added, "He immersed himself in military life and I think it allowed him to be himself and develop full friendships with normal people as opposed to the sycophants who tend to surround, then betray him." The source told how Harry was at home in the army and enjoyed earning the respect of his colleagues without the pomp and pageantry. The Duke was recently appointed Captain General of the Royal Marines, a role which his former fellow officer said will provide a vital umbilical cord to his military life that will allow him to be himself. As Lieutenant Wales, the prince spent 10 weeks in Afghanistan as a forward air controller in 2008 before he was forced to leave after German and Australian publications broke a news blackout to reveal his location. While there he helped Gurkha troops repel an attack from Taliban insurgents and performed patrol duty in hostile areas. Promoted to captain, he returned to Afghanistan in 2012 to fly the Apaches, the Army's most sophisticated attack helicopter. Speaking last night, the officer, a former captain who recently left the Army to work as a consultant in the city, said, "I have seen the prince this year and he seemed very quiet and reserved, not the bubbly, fun chap I once knew." During his time in Helmand, Harry was a bag of fun. He had a great sense of humor, though he excelled in daft jokes about football or rugby. Once, when he deployed on the ground with the Blues and Royals, they found a motorbike and he jumped on and started driving it. On another day he started up an ad hoc hockey game. At the same time he'd be happy to brew the tea for the lads, or tidy up the hundreds of books we'd be sent, or just wait his turn to get into the makeshift shower and toilet area. He immersed himself in military life and I think it allowed him to be himself and develop full friendships with normal people, as opposed to the sycophants who tend to surround him and then betray him. In that first trip he directed close air support aircraft to bomb the Taliban, and in his second trip he was in an Apache providing protection for soldiers on the ground and hitting the Taliban directly, often at close range. His job was intense and hugely rewarding. He was a member of a unique club of army pilots who chased and killed the Taliban. It's a club into which all the money in the world cannot buy membership. He had earned his place there. I don't want to overstate it, but Harry was at home in the army. He was good at his job and was able to dismiss all the pomp and pageantry yet earn the respect of colleagues and soldiers. He loved it. He was transformed when the two met again recently. The officer said, "I am not prepared to say where I saw him again, but he seemed a bit lost and totally out of his comfort zone. We chatted to him and he seemed detached, disjointed. I have a sense that he's feeling isolated." I compared this to when Prince Harry was involved with soldiers at the Invictus Games. He fitted straight into the military environment. In my opinion, he felt back in his safe zone. Many soldiers who love army life find the transition to civilian life difficult, very difficult. They feel they have lost something when they leave, and that can manifest itself in different ways. Some miss the comradeship and the military family, while others miss the routine and institutionalization. Some chaps get over it in a year, but for others it takes longer. The officer added, "Of course, His circumstances have changed. Life can't stand still. I suspect that as a newly married man he is anxious about the pressures his wife is feeling. I suppose we all change when we get married, but in uniform he was always smiling and joking around, although very professional. But now he seems very protective of his life, very defensive. He was recently appointed Captain General of the Royal Marines and he will love that role. It will provide a vital umbilical cord with the military that allows him to chat, laugh and learn with like-minded people behind closed doors where he can be himself.